Welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and tonight we're going to predict the Bengals versus 49ers game, and it's going to be in San Francisco, so I feel like, I guess it's not that big of a deal because we had a bye week, and then I think it's actually a bigger deal for the 49ers because they had a Monday night game, plus all the injuries that are going on, but
You like that? You like that?
I don't know how, I guess the big news is supposedly Brock Purdy is not going to make the game, which...
Oh, he's not going to play?
Well, supposedly he's got a concussion. Well, I guess he's going through the concussion protocol. I'm not sure if you saw that or not.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. I got to pick up Sam Darnold in my fantasy football league. Hold on.
I'm not sure if I would do that. You may want to wait 1 week before you do that.
Why?
Actually, no. They're going to be on a bye next week.
Yeah, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
But even before, I guess, the news that he may not play, I thought potentially the game plan is contain McCaffrey. And McCaffrey's kind of been on a fumbling streak. Like, I feel like the last 2 games out of 3, he's fumbled the ball and lost it. Plus, he's hurt, playing with I think they said an oblique strain or something like that. But nonetheless, I think the big thing for us, or for the Bengals, is to contain him. I mean, he's going to get his touches or whatever, but it's just making sure that he doesn't break, that big play. And then just maybe, make it a point to where they hold him out of the end zone, make that, the big goal. Because he scored a touchdown in the last, was it 17 games, 16 games? He's, on that crazy streak.
Who are we talking about? I'm still busy picking up Sam Darnold.
McCaffrey.
Oh. I'm going to drop Dalton Kincaid and pick up Sam Darnold.
I feel like you've always been high on Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think I've had a man crush on Sam Darnold since he took over at USC.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different because, I feel like you do that, you contain him, you double Kittle, basically take out his number 1 option. Well, for now, because Deebo Samuel's out. And then you try to make Purdy beat you over the top. Now, it's going to be a little bit different now, like I said, because if Darnold plays, I feel like he's got a much stronger arm. So he has potential to beat you over the top. So you may not play
Darnold's
the same way.
Awesome player. His problem,
I think he's
in
overrated.
College, well, he would, because I like him. So you probably hear too much about him. But his problem has been turnovers.
No, I just look at production.
Well, that's been his problem. He turns the ball over too much.
Right. Yeah, I'm saying
leads to losses. But the thing is that I feel like the 49ers offense is for a quarterback that's playing with training wheels on. It has to be the easiest offense to play in and be productive.
Here's the deal, though.
I mean, they're just pitches, right? Half your throws are just you're throwing it to the sideline behind the line of scrimmage.
True. Yeah, no, they do kind of pick you apart like that. It's very reminiscent of the Patriots offense early on in Brady's career.
Well, that's not good.
Well, I mean, whether it's good or not, they throw a lot of those dink and
ducks.
Bengals,
right? It's great for Sam Darnold and 49ers fans, which, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I don't know. My perception of him kind of changed when he said the whole I'm seeing ghost. I remember seeing that. I guess more or less a low light. It's not really a highlight for him, but he was playing that one defense, and I guess he was seeing things that weren't there, and that kind of clued me in as to maybe what's going on with him.
I mean, he played for the Jets. Their offense. How can I describe their offense?
They suck.
The players on that team suck.
That's it. That's how their offense was. Terrible.
Yeah, but
the coaching, everything was bad. I mean, the Jets were terrible.
So you feel like they're much better now?
They're more average than they used to be. They used to be bad. Now they're kind of middle of the road offense. But So what I'm trying to say is, I have not. I think Darnold has a chance to produce in that offense. Hopefully not this week, but it's like the easiest offense in the NFL to run for a quarterback. And
I would tend to believe that if he was just already the starter, because if I remember correctly, this is not Sam Darnold's first year at the 49ers, right? Like he was on
they signed him this year.
I feel like he was signed last year. Because like I thought, because Garoppolo got hurt again, and then everyone thought Sam Darnold was going to be the starter, and then somehow Purdy beat out Donald.
According to multiple sources, signed quarterback Sam Darnold to a 1-year contract on March 13th, 2023. Yeah, because last year they had Garoppolo.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of Garoppolo.
Trey Lance and Purdy, right? And then I think Josh Johnson, didn't he play in like the NFC Championship game?
The thing is that Darnold had a second opportunity. Was it with Carolina? Is that right?
Yeah, but they were a terrible team.
You can't keep blaming the quarterback for the team sucking. Like that's part of the job.
I think that's what you're doing. I'm doing the opposite. You're blaming the quarterback for the team sucking.
Right, because the proof is in the pudding. Like he's been in several organizations and he had several opportunities to start and he didn't.
Two.
Darnold.
Two. Yeah.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers and the Jets.
What do they have in common?
They both are NFL organizations that have top 1% talent that come from college.
They both have green in their color scheme. You know, I guess the aqua is kind of a green. No,
what?
They both have been terrible recently.
Carolina is like a baby blue. I don't know what you're. What?
Baby blue's got a little green in it. It's kind of like baby blue is like an offshoot of teal, and teal is like green and blue, right?
That's a stretch.
The
point I'm trying to make is that a sign of a good quarterback is uplifting your teammates. Like you make your teammates better, right? If you as a quarterback are expecting the other people to make you better, that is a problem because
that's the difference between being an elite quarterback and being a system quarterback, right? And I'm saying that the system makes the player because the 49ers have had all different guys playing quarterback and they've all done good.
Not necessarily, no.
Well, who's played bad in Kyle Shanahan's offense?
Well, they got rid of Trey Lance and Garoppolo.
Well, Trey Lance, I think Trey Lance played okay for the one game he played, right?
Yeah, it was weird because it seemed like there was like a promising, like I remember at one moment, like because like it seemed like the game that he was playing, he was doing all right, and then he got hurt, and then it just kind of came crashing down. But
I'm just saying, it's like I just feel like you can take any serviceable NFL quarterback and put them in that 49ers offense, and they'll put up stats because it's just like a safety net. You know?
Well, for the most part, but that okay. Speaking of that, I think that's why Purdy works so well in that offense is that he's able to process things really well. Like that, to me, separates him and Darnold. And kind of getting back to what I was saying before,
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying the offense is so easy. There's nothing to process. It's just throw it to the guy running towards the sideline.
It's not that easy.
Scrimmage. Hand it to Christian McCaffrey and watch him run into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain gimme plays if they set things up, but there's going to be times where you have to throw it to the right person. And I think that's the problem with Darnold is that he can't process that information like a Purdy can. I think that's why Purdy fits in Shanahan's offense is that he can process things really well and he doesn't have to throw it
I
over
read
the
it
top.
different. I read it different. If they had so much confidence in Purdy, they wouldn't have given Darnold $5 million to come be the backup.
Well, I guess in their mind, they wanted to have a good backup. That's why you're willing to pay a backup that much money. Right?
Yeah, but he's making more than the starter.
Plus, they probably weren't 100% sure that Purdy could start this year, right? Because weren't there concerns with his arm and making sure that
he was hurt.
Well, technically, from what I understand, he is still kind of hurt and he's still like kind of recovering throughout the year.
Yeah.
So I think it was just insurance.
I think he's going to get Wally pipped. I think Sam Darnold's going to have a good season. And
so you don't think Purdy's going to start at all going forward?
I think he's going to lose his job to Darnold.
So that means Darnold's going to have a breakout game against the Bengals?
I hope not, but potentially.
I don't really see that, but I mean, it's a possibility.
You don't see it.
Well, I mean, if he was that good, he would still be on the Panthers. That's all I'm saying. Like,
they fired their coach too, so it's hard to say.
I mean, they gave up the opportunity basically to keep him.
I don't know. Matt Rule left. I don't know if he got fired or if he just went back to college. But either way, you have a new regime. They had the number 1 overall pick. You're going to take a quarterback and start over, right? Wash, rinse, and repeat.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, I don't necessarily think he's the worst quarterback by any means, but what I'm saying is that he's going to give the Bengals some opportunities for turnovers. Like, and I feel like
okay. Well, let's get on to the prediction stuff. We can argue about how good or bad Sam Darnold is after we run through this. Let's see. So this must be the change, right? Is this when they announced that Purdy was going to be out?
Yeah, it came out today, which is crazy because like.
So the betting public sees a 10% shift in win probability in the good direction for the Bengals. The 49ers are still favored, but the betting public agrees with you that it's a downgrade to go from Purdy to Sam Darnold.
Well, I want to say it started out like as a 6-point favorite, and then as I guess it got down to like a 5.5-point favorite. And then once news came out that Purdy most likely won't start, I think they're at 3.5.
Yeah, now it's 3.5.
Which is crazy to me. Like, I think the 49ers kind of got exposed the last couple of weeks. Maybe this might be a benefit for them is that now they can maybe push the ball a little bit further down the field. I think they're probably going to try and catch the Bengals off guard because now they have someone that can probably throw it over the top a little bit more. But that's the thing. I think Blue's going to come in there.
I don't think they're really set up for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because Purdy was their quarterback. Now they're probably willing to take a few more shots with Darnold.
Their offense doesn't do that. It's all side to side, behind the line of scrimmage, crossing pattern stuff.
Well, guess what? That has not worked the last couple of weeks. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're probably more willing to try a deep pass, but that might be part of the reason why they haven't done that is because Purdy is still kind of recovering from what happened last year. I mean, I'm getting that information from what I heard over the broadcast is that they were saying during the game, the 49ers and Vikings game on Monday, that he is still technically recovering from his elbow surgery or whatever was going on. Which makes sense because, like, because he got hurt in the playoffs, right? So, like, he hasn't had that much time to recover, and I feel like those type of things. Because even Carson Palmer, I mean, I'm not sure if they had the same type of injury, but he was never the same, especially when he hurt his elbow. Well, I don't think he ever got surgery either. I think that was another thing. No, or did he get surgery?
On his knee. I don't think he did anything for his elbow.
Yeah. But I just feel like he was never the same when he hurt his arm. Like, it just... Like, the ball didn't seem like it had that zip. But nonetheless, I think they're going to be willing to try a few.
I felt like Palmer could really layer the football. Like, before he hurt his elbow, I feel like he could, like, throw it over the linebackers hard, but then it, like, almost, like, dipped, like I want to say like a slider because of the spin of the football.
Yeah.
But it was something like he could spin it so good that he could put a lot of zip on it, but then it would, like, dive, like, after it got over the level of the linebackers, right? But it kind of went away when he hurt his elbow. He didn't have, like, that same ability to, like, get that ball to dive, like, on command almost. I don't know. That's just what I saw. I could be making stuff up.
I think he was definitely different because, like, I remember when we made it to the playoffs against the Jets and he got picked off a couple times. Like, he was trying to do, like, these back shoulder throws and it just, like, nothing was happening. But I guess we're getting into the actual prediction.
Yeah, let's throw it out there.
Okay.
Then we can reminisce about Carson after we do our job. We got to do some work, Josh. Focus. Let's get this done.
I'm definitely focused.
Okay, betting public needs to know.
No,
what's going to happen?
Okay, well, I definitely think we're gonna win.
Okay, is that like a stone cold lead pipe lock guarantee?
Well, it's weird because like on Twitter, that's usually where I get like the feel of things. Like people are like, "Oh, San Francisco," like they're still like thinking like San Francisco is this like superpower team, even though they showed a lot of weaknesses the last couple of weeks. Plus, they're going to be playing with probably a different quarterback. But I also think people forget like the Bengals are pissed off too. Like I don't think people remember that Joe Burrow wasn't really that happy. He was kind of sounding like us after the win last week. Was that
so we're angry? So the Bengals are angry. We got angry Joe Burrow. Okay,
right?
I'm liking it. So what does all this mean? What's it mean?
I feel like they're gonna play with fire. Like I feel like they're gonna want to show that like they mean business.
Flamethrower.
But until they consistently show they can score like a high amount of points, I'm not gonna necessarily predict that. But I'm gonna go with. I feel like 25-20 Bengals.
Okay, 25-20 Bengals, and then we're gonna hear that roar. Oh. All right, so that means you got the over too. Let's see. New quarterback. Desperate team. Bad run defense. Good running back. I think we're going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, but Christian McCaffrey hasn't done shit in the last couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, but
running wise. Receiving, he's still a threat.
I just think we're going to be pissed off some more. I'm going there you go, 24-17 Niners.
What?
Killers of dreams. I just don't see it. Give 49ers. I think Frisco has it because we know how much people that live in that city love to be called Frisco. So I think Frisco has it this week. I think the Bengals are going to turn it around, but I don't think this is the matchup for them.
I mean, their defense is solid. I mean, I can't necessarily argue against their defense because there's not many pieces on their defense that's really hurting. It's just their offense may struggle a little bit with some of their key pieces. But I also think the Bengals are still the Bengals, which I still see them as like an AFC like contender. So it's not as if it's going to be like a pushover and like they're just going to get straight up dominated by the 49ers. Like,
well, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just speaking in general, just like, because if you go on Twitter, like before the Purdy injury, it just seemed like people were like, oh, you don't want to play a 49ers team that lost 2 in a row because they're going to be like pissed. But I'm like, I can kind of relate to that because that's kind of like the same situation the Bengals were in. But at the same time, like, I feel like they were showing a lot of weakness. Like, I think Burrow was clearly a lot more hurt than what people anticipated. Like, like looking back,
he's better now. If he's still hurt,
that's another thing. In his press conference today, he says he feels like he's 100% or close to 100%. So I feel like you have to be pretty confident to say that. He's doing more in practice. I think that he took like snaps under center, which they haven't really done at all throughout the year. I think this
is week 8, right?
Week 8, yeah. This will be our 7th game, but
a little correction.
But yeah, I think last week he took a few snaps under center. But but he really hasn't taken any snaps overall under center just because of his calf. And I'm sure he'll be very limited in what he does with that, but we're not going to be just basically out of shotgun all the time. For me, it's like, especially when it comes to offense, I think the big thing there is like what they're going to do with the tight end. Because I know like people are kind of, there's some people on the side that says like, well, it's not really a tight end issue because our offense doesn't really like highlight that position and we don't really give them the ball. But I think part of the reason why we don't do that is because the tight ends that we have hasn't really showed anything. And
I think that's false. I mean, the Bengals use the tight end. They have, right?
For sure. It's just when
CJ Uzama had a few games where he like put up big numbers.
Right.
And then
same thing with Hurst.
Hayden Hurst had a few games with some big numbers. Like it's like you don't need every player needs to be a threat to score.
That's the key.
To pick up first downs.
I don't think Irv Smith is a threat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. I'm elaborating on what you're saying. It's just like I think that anybody who says that we don't need a tight end, I think that's BS.
Well, I think because they misconstrued it and they think people want like a all pro tight end. It's like I don't think that's what people want. I think they want they want a tight end that actually can be a threat, like you said. And
but if the Bengals had an all pro tight end, they would be unstoppable.
Yeah, for sure. Because that would almost be unfair with everything else that we have. But this is what I think is probably going to happen. I think this is going to be Irv Smith's like last chance, and it's going to be like a tryout. And if he doesn't produce like the way they think he can, then I do think we'll trade for a tight end because we have until Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I think
I think it's related to the run game too, because I think like the biggest benefit of a tight end is the defense isn't sure if you're going to run or throw it if you have a tight end that can catch the ball, right?
Right.
Because you have the extra blocker on the line of scrimmage, and if that tight end can run a pass route and catch a ball for first down, then the defense has to defend both the run and the pass. But if your tight end isn't producing in the pass game, then they know that he's probably going to run.
Plus,
right? You just play the run, right?
Plus, like when you see Sample come in, you pretty much know it's almost going to be a run. Like there's times where they throw it, but it's almost like we had Stanley Morgan.
Yeah.
And when he came in, like he just 95% of the time they're going to run because like he's such a good blocker as a receiver.
Mm.
I mean, there was a few wrinkles. Same thing with Sample. Every now and then they'll throw it to him, but he it's not like
it's not a threat. You're not worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. Because they give him the yards.
He's going to catch a pass for like 5 yards and fall down, right? It's like you need someone that could hurt a defense, and if the tight end can't hurt the defense, then they don't commit the resources to it, and it doesn't put pressure on the defense.
Now, I did see some interesting things in terms of like other positions and trades, because apparently pretty much everyone on the Patriots offense has a possible, I guess, could be traded.
Yeah.
And there's I forget his name, but he grades out pretty decent, or he would definitely be an upgrade over our left guard now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would consider that as well. To me, like, our offensive line is not necessarily the biggest obstacle, because if you look at the overall stats, like, I think the last 3 or so weeks, they've given up like 3 sacks when they were averaging like 2, but compared to last year, they're like below what they had now. And then they seem to be getting better as they go on. The only thing I am kind of concerned about is that Orlando Brown Jr., like, he hurt his groin. And, like, before he came out, he was doing really well. And then Kappa seems to be doing really well now. And then Williams has been playing pretty consistent and good. It really, the weakest link seems like left guard. And at times he does well, but there's just times where he just gets really beat. Volson. And I've been a pretty big Volson supporter, like,
yeah.
But it's starting to get to the point where it's like, I'm tired of it, you know? Like,
yeah.
But it could just be a case.
So fast. The problem isn't that he loses. It's just it's like instant. You know what I mean?
I mean there was a play the last game that we had where he just got literally beat. He got pushed all the way back to the quarterback.
Well, it's like a car, right? Like if you have a bad car and sometimes it won't start, and you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, I gotta go to work or go to school, and you turn on the car and it doesn't start, right? That's like a bad car. Like Cordell Volson is like if you woke up in the morning and you try to start the car and then it didn't start, and then you try to get it and then it just caught on fire. You know what I mean? It's just like he doesn't fail. He fails like just things get wrecked.
Right.
It's like he's like not even there.
It's weird because like I almost feel like he would be a better tackle than a guard. Like
no.
I don't know. I just because I feel like guard.
No. It'd be like recreating the Obi-Wan Kenobi scene from Star Wars.
Well, that's the thing. He went from a tackle to a guard, and I think guard you got to be really stout, to whereas tackle you got to be fluid. Because the way both the positions you got to be strong, but then at the same time, like if you're a tackle, you're playing against really athletic defensive ends that are fast. And they're trying to get around the edge, so you got to have that quickness on your feet. And I feel like he would be better at that than trying to take on those really big defensive tackles.
No, I disagree 100%. Like when the Rams wanted a sack, what did they do? They put Aaron Donald right in front of Cordell Volson, and he went right past them. When the Cowboys wanted sacks against the Bengals, what did they do? They moved Michael Parsons inside, so he lined up over Cordell Volson, so he could just go right around him and sack the quarterback.
Well, he did that.
I mean, just
actually,
saying,
I'm probably thinking of a different because I'm thinking of Garrett. Garrett got over Karras.
Yeah,
but Karras, like, everyone's gonna have bad plays, you know, because it's the NFL. But it's just Volson seems to have consistent bad plays, and that's why
because like the other teams have videotape and they say, well, if we need a sack, let's run this action at this guy because he's the weak link, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're probably right about it. I don't know. I just like I want to pretend that he still not pretend, but I just want to think he's got potential still, and I just maybe it's not guard, maybe it could be tackle, but nonetheless, if we can get an upgrade at guard, I would still entertain that.
Yeah, the Bengals don't like guards,
but to me, the most logical is probably going to be a tight end, or I could even see a defensive tackle.
I don't think they're going to do anything because they never do anything.
But that's the thing. Like, I think the one thing about the Bengals is that they're not necessarily desperate, so they're just not going to do things to do it. Because like you always feel like the Ravens or Browns or whatever, they're going to like do these crazy trades and
because you should.
It doesn't necessarily work out though.
You got to try.
You can try, but is it really worth it though?
You could you and I with the Bengals draft picks could upgrade the team easily, right? You trade late round picks to get a tight end and get a guard and get a running back. You know?
Honestly, I'd be more inclined to trade a first round pick than a late round pick with the way things are going.
Trade a first round pick.
Yeah, but I feel like the Bengals tend to do better later in the draft. Basically, outside of the first day.
I don't know. 6th, 7th round picks hardly ever do anything.
I mean, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, if you turn a 6th round pick into like 1 year of a decent tight end, or what do we say? 10 more weeks of a decent tight end, you call that good. You live with it, right? You move on. I mean, running backs are easy to get.
I should say late first round picks because we seem to do decent on early first round picks, but I guess that's a given because they're usually really good. But late first round picks, we don't tend to do that well.
is there any running back on the Bengals roster that could make another team? I mean, the running back position is so bad. If you don't have anybody that could take carries away from Mixon, given his very modest production, there's problem in that position.
Did you know Mixon has the most rushing yards in the AFC North?
So
I just think your perception, like, it's not the same. Like, who are we comparing the running back position to? The Dolphins?
How about the Browns?
Okay, well, you're talking
The
about
Browns
Nick Chubb.
lost their starting quarterback or starting running back, and their running back position is still better than the Bengals.
It's not statistically.
What do you mean statistically? Like runs per carry, yards per carry?
Well, total yards.
Total yards. You think the Bengals have more total rushing yards than the Browns?
Yes, I think Mixon individually has more total yards than any other individual running back.
Yeah, that's because all the guys keep getting hurt for the Browns. But like, if you add up all three of them,
but that you
they're
can't
way
do that.
better than Mixon. Well, sure you can. The Browns did it.
But we're talking individually, though. That's a difference. You can't be like, okay, well, 3 people have more yards. I mean, okay, Chubb. I mean, I'm not going to argue there. Like,
Okay,
duh,
Jerome
but,
Ford.
Okay, he still doesn't have more yards.
I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I'm gonna Google's it. Stats. Rushing. Jerome Ford, 344 yards.
That total? So, Chubb only had 170 total yards? That doesn't seem right.
He only played in 2 games.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. I guess it's literally a game and a half because I feel like he got hurt early. Well, not early, but like.
Okay. So then we'll go. Bang. Or where we go? Joe Mixon. $366 yards.
Okay.
And then Jerome Ford has 344 yards.
How many receiving yards does he have?
104.
That's actually pretty decent.
I don't know where you can see.
Maybe stats?
I thought I was on stats. Why are they giving us defensive stats on Joe Mixon? Come on, ESPN. Do better.
There's receiving right there.
Where?
Right below rushing.
Oh, there you go. 104.
They have about. They're actually pretty close.
So 104, 7.4 yard average, 2 touchdowns. And then we got receiving 6.5 yards average, 0 touchdowns. And then we got rushing 344 yards.
So we're both wrong. They're the same. You said they're better.
He didn't play as many games.
He was the backup. He did play as many games.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is that the Browns are committed to the run. The Browns are like stuck in the mid 90s where like they're going to run and try to beat you eventually with the run. The Bengals like I just remember early in the season when we would have really good blocking running, we just stopped running and try to throw it. And then people would drop it or Burrow would have a bad throw or whatever. Like, I don't know. Ford had some really good games, or maybe a good game that really carried his stats.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mixon is due to have a breakout game here soon.
Are we playing Are we playing Charlotte?
Charlotte.
Charlotte?
Carolina?
They're in Charlotte.
Yeah, but they're called the Carolina Panthers.
Okay, fair enough. Are they on our schedule?
Yes. It's fine because I called the Indianapolis Colts Indiana Colts. I remember I was like, what? I was going to say that.
Pittsburgh. What's their running stats? I haven't paid much attention to.
I feel like Najee Harris is not doing shit.
Whoa.
Pretty sure he's doing way worse than Mixon. Because every time I watch the game, it's just like he does the things that you hate, where like you go more side to side. 300 yards, I guess it's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. And they got Jalen Warren, 3.9 yards a carry.
But what's his receiving?
Warren's got 165.
Harris 52. I guess it's not too bad.
I'm just saying, 3.9 yards a carry.
I think that's
So
what
long
Mixon
of 24, has. Long of 18. What's Mixon's long?
I think it was his touchdown run, which was like 21 yards or something.
Well, how come I can't get those same stats for Mixon? What am I doing wrong here?
Because you were looking at like team stats.
Yeah, I need to do that. Ha. Did it. Oh, long of 22. Wow.
Yeah, it was his touchdown run. Like that one would have been like 50 yards, but
I don't think so.
I do. If you watch the play,
would have been 25 yards.
Nah, it would have been at least 50.
Oh man, the offense is anemic, dude. 1,200 passing yards. That's Kenny Pickett levels.
Yeah, I mean the first 3 games were pretty rough.
Yeah.
But if you look at the last 3 games, it's more of like an indication.
I mean, it's not much better than the Browns' triple-headed dragon of Deshaun Watson, P.J. Walker, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Nah, the Browns are
4 TDs.
The fact that they even have 4 wins is like, well, they were gifted a win this past week. Like,
speaking of, the refs had quite the week, man. Did you see the end of that Iowa-Minnesota game?
Oh yeah, where the guy, they said that he called a fair catch at the end.
It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I was watching it live, and literally nobody in that stadium thought that he fair caught the ball. Because as soon as he touched the ball, he got hit by a guy covering the punt.
Right.
And he just
he did that spin move. It made like 6 people miss at once.
Yeah, it's like they weren't all standing there not trying to tackle him. If anything, they were trying to tackle him too hard, you know?
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, that was a bad call, but I feel like the end of the Colts-Browns game was just pathetic.
I don't know. The end of the Iowa-Minnesota game broke me for the weekend. I was just like, it's all fixed. I'm done.
Yeah, but the college and NFL are 2 separate things, but
the same thing, man. Iowa or the refs took the Minnesota on the money line and they made it happen, you know?
I don't know. I feel like it'd be much harder to fix college games than
not if you're calling games Iowa, they can't score.
Well, I guess don't they the way they do referees is based off a conference? Is that right? Like it's not like a national thing. Like they basically
they have their own conference refs. Yeah.
To whereas like the NFL actually has like groups of referees that rotate games, but it's all under one umbrella. To whereas like college, I guess for that reason, maybe college might be a little bit easier because you would only have to get into one conference to set things up. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if it's happening in the NFL, then it's probably happening in college, the same type of way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can gamble on it. Like, how do you even catch them? How could you catch them? Like, how could you, uh, you know? It's so bad, right? So, like, say you assume that there's no cheating. Well, if that's how normal is, how would you know if someone was cheating? Because it's so bad.
well, that's to me. That's how you know it's bad or that it's happening because if it's not getting any better, right? If the calls seem to be getting worse, which I feel like is happening in the NFL, like you just nowadays it's like if it's a close game and it's like especially in the fourth quarter, you're almost guaranteed to see a flag. Like it's just you can expect to see a flag one way or another. Like it was the Rams. Yeah, it was Rams versus Steelers game where they called a passer interference. I mean, they ended up calling something else too, taunting, which kind of cleared everything out. But the fact that they threw an interference flag when it was just a bad pass was just like bonkers. And then apparently after that, they gave like a very favorable spot to Pickett.
Yeah.
And like that's ultimately what they were able to do to run out the time. But but the Colts Browns game was way worse. It's like they literally gave the Colts the Browns like basically 3 sets of downs to score.
An extra down?
Not an extra down, but
extra 3 downs.
Well, they basically because they called 2 penalties that gave you first downs, and so like there was a passer interference and there was like a holding call. Right when that holding call was called, the Colts actually got the Browns to fumble, and everyone thought the game was over. And then they called that holding, which was crazy because Cooper, whoever's guarding Cooper, they called the foul on him. Cooper made the contact initially, and it didn't even like. And then a few plays later after that, when they're on the goal line and it's about to be a 3rd down, they call a passer interference on a ball that wasn't even catchable.
Yeah, I saw the replay of that one.
I mean, that one's bad, but the holding call was even worse. Like before that, where, like I said, on that play, they got the Browns to fumble. And it was just like, dude, like, you can't.
Gotta stop putting them on the TV, man. They're just calling those flags because they want to be on TV.
Yeah, that's weird to me. I mean, if that's the case, like, I just don't understand, like, why.
They're just like Instagram models, man. They just want attention. Throw that flag.
Well,
now the game's about them.
Well, a lot of those refs apparently like they have more than one job. Like refereeing is kind of like a side thing where they still have like another profession, which is like crazy to me. There are some full-time refs, but like they all should be full-time refs, right? Where like that's all they do, but a lot of them
are during the week.
Huh?
What would they do during the week? Like practice?
Yeah. Practice, go over the penalties that they messed up, have like a conference, have a little bit more transparency.
How come refs aren't in shape? How come like they're? I mean, of course, some of them do bicep curls and wear tight shirts, but for the most part, they're just like really old dudes, and you're like, shouldn't they be like, like people with like perfect eyesight, And like people that run a lot, like they should get like they should go to like the New York City Marathon, right? And then they should sit at the finish line, and whoever wins, they should give them an eye test.
There's
and if
definitely
you have like perfect vision
people
and you're
out there
able to run like that, then they should recruit those people to be refs.
For sure.
Right?
Like there's definitely upgrades out there that would be willing to get paid whatever they'd be willing to pay a ref salary.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be considered upgrades in what we have now. Like that to me
is
like
it's like you watch those guys and you're like, how many of those refs do you think ever played football?
Well, I just think they're useful idiots. Like they're pick people that they can manipulate, and they know that they're gonna do what they're told, not necessarily what's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not trained to be like independent thinkers. They're trained to do what they're doing right now. Like,
well, to garbly goop, try to make things as complicated as possible so they can just make it be whatever they want.
But that's why I go back to the whole like. What sold me on this whole like fix thing was the AFC Championship game with the Bengals and them getting that extra down, because that ref came out of nowhere. He was a backfield judge or whatever, and it almost seemed like someone in his ear.
He parachuted in from the blimp. He was a plant.
Well, no, he was where he was supposed to be, and he was like running onto the field as the play was already finishing, and he's blowing his whistle. You know, and it's like, okay, like I get if it's like as the snap is happening and like half the people or players are not doing it because they think, oh well, he's blowing it dead. You know, like the inadvertent whistle or whatever. But it wasn't even like that. Like, no one realized what was going on. Everyone thought, because like their punting team was about to run, it was like getting ready to run on the field.
Yeah.
And the fact that they like gave that to them was just like really weird. So weird to me.
Yeah. It's all fixed.
Well, that to me was assault, because it's like, who told him to do that? And then furthermore, wouldn't it just make sense to be like, oh, no harm, no foul. Let's just keep it going. Because the whistle didn't do anything. Like, no one even realized that he did it until.
That guy shouldn't even have had a whistle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't the logical thing to be like, okay, we don't want to disrupt because you're essentially giving him another play. But the thing is, there's
no logic and consistency to how so many things are called in the NFL.
Right, that's the thing. You know? That's another thing. Is like there is no consistency.
Yeah, like what's a catch, what's not a catch, what's a fumble, what's not a fumble.
I mean, at the very least, it's clear that they have favorites.
Yeah.
Chiefs being one of them, because it's like,
yeah, they're in the most commercials. Tell you, man, follow the money.
No, I mean, I agree with that too, because like I was watching.
Just watch a game, watch the commercials, keep track of who's in the most commercials.
No, you're right, because I at one point during one half, I just like every other commercial either had Travis Kelce in it, Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes. Like, what is going on? Like, and it wasn't like it would make sense if I was watching a Chiefs game, but this is when I was watching a Bengals game. I'm like, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I suspect.
Follow the money, man.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I do suspect, at least from the fan base, that they're gonna want like real change, because like it just feels like it's a snowball effect where like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, because it more and more people are actually complaining about it and being more open about it, like thinking things are fixed with how things are going on. So I feel like the NFL is going to have to do something to suggest that, okay, well, we're going to try to correct it. But the weirdest part,
still the number one thing on TV. So until they start losing viewers and until people stop gambling, it's going to keep going.
That's the whole thing with Taylor Swift, is like they're trying to cater to her audience, which is working, because I want to say when Taylor Swift started, like, I guess dating Travis Kelce, like
Are they dating?
I don't really know what's going on. Honestly, it really doesn't matter to me, other than the fact that I think they're just overdoing it, and it's just like,
I mean,
okay, well, let me ask you this:
just because she's going to the games doesn't mean they're dating, right?
They're definitely dating. I feel like, because they're being seen after the game together, like different days, doing social events and stuff like that. But the point is that Travis Kelce, his jersey sells, like he went in the like top two. Like, he got 800,000 more jerseys.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, that's exactly $800,000. They split that with the NFL.
Taylor Swift making more money by being associated with the NFL.
Well, it works.
Dollar
it works both.
Bills,
well,
y'all.
I don't know. If you look at a lot of the comments, not necessarily. If anything, the NFL is gaining more than like she might be getting Kansas City's fan base.
She's
No.
probably getting more money by being associated with the NFL than she would otherwise.
Yeah, in terms
The
of like
NFL is getting a bigger
sponsorships and
incremental
stuff.
bump. I'm sure the NFL is getting a bigger bump than she is, but she's still getting a bump. She's in all the damn commercials too during NFL games, right?
Well, supposedly that was the thing that they did, was that they played a few of her commercials like with no like cost associated. Like because I think they promoted her movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it
I'm
was
just
kind of
saying,
like for
to me,
free.
it just seems the whole thing seems contrived and seems like a marketing campaign.
That's what I think about that one fan. Did you see the super fan for the Chargers?
No.
Oh man, look that up.
Yeah. Don't be a hater like a Raider.
No. Chargers. Look up. Can you
Yeah,
go
that's
to
the
YouTube?
Chargers super fan guy.
No. It's a lady.
Don't
You got
be a hater like a Raider.
No, look it up. I want to see, if you haven't seen her, I want to see what you think about her reactions.
Okay, what are we doing here?
Go to YouTube and just look up Chargers super fan.
Chargers super fan.
Okay,
Oh, this girl?
yeah.
Which one?
I guess either one.
Okay. Where is she? Why is there a curtain?
So supposedly, like the whole story is kind of weird, but she's got like front row seats or tickets for the Chargers, but I guess apparently it comes with a suite.
Yeah.
But yeah, she had like these really dramatic like expressions. One where she's like crying. I'm like, it didn't seem like genuine, you know? Like I couldn't really tell when I first saw it. I just like something felt off. And then they have her pictures in like a Vikings uniform.
Yeah.
And supposedly she was a Viking fan initially, and then she moved to LA and became a huge fan of the Chargers. But if you look up the NFL West Coast headquarters, it's literally 50 yards.
We're on live, dude.
50 yards from SoFi Stadium. I'm like, yeah, she's a plant. Like, come on. Like, she's within walking distance of their West Coast. Yeah, click on that, dude. She's like, no one acts like that. And then the following week when she plays or not when the Chargers play the Chiefs, somehow she got front row tickets again at the Chiefs stadium, and she's wearing a Buffalo Wild Wings hat. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, what?
This goes all the way to the top, man. I didn't know B-Dubs was involved.
Well, it's just like the person she's standing next
to get the yarn and kind of draw it out, man. Connecting the dots.
Well, it's clearly a lie, because when she was on the Pat McAfee show the day after when she got discovered during her first whatever, she was like, oh no, I'm just a super fan. And because they brought up the pictures, like, oh no, I was at my son's Vikings. Like apparently her son plays football and they're like the Vikings. But then they zoomed out. They had like another picture with her in the Vikings uniform, and you could see like the NFL players in the background. And then they determined that was actually when the Rams played the Vikings.
The Vikings.
Yeah, in the old Coliseum. She completely fabricated that she was at her son's game. So it's like, dude, she's clearly lying. Like, why are you guys like? And again, she said she was initially a Vikings fan, and then when she moved to LA, she became a Chargers fan. Crazy Chargers fans. But then when I looked up, I was like, wait a second. I was like, because I knew that the NFL had like a headquarters on the West Coast, because they started broadcasting NFL Network there. If you look up, literally look up NFL West Coast headquarters, and it'll say it's 50 yards. No, just Google search it. Google literally says the West Coast headquarters for the NFL is 50 yards from SoFi Stadium.
Well, yeah, that's why they built that. I knew that. It's like one big complex.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's a plant. Like, because
she lives in the headquarters. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, come on. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I can think of, I knew someone's mom, like, she was really into the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
And she never acted like that lady ever. Like,
so you knew a mom?
Yeah, I'm just trying.
Bengals fan, and she never acted like that lady.
Yeah, she was a super fan. Like, she would scream and get into it, but emotionally, she didn't have like the things that she was doing just didn't seem natural. Is what I'm saying. like,
yeah,
it seemed like she knew she was being watched, and it was just
when you watch reaction videos, how many of the reaction videos do you think are like genuine, or how many do you like? What percent do you think are people just like making faces and
yeah, I see what you're saying. I would say 85% is probably like,
except for us, we're legit.
Well, yeah, because we're literally doing it right after but you're saying like when you watch a video and react to it, right? The highlights.
Yeah, but like, you know, like we're not like throwing our TV at the wall and like, you know,
yeah, like
screaming and like, you know, veins popping out of our neck. And
because my initial reaction to it, because I remember watching it live, because I'll like if it because it was a Sunday night game, or maybe it was a Monday night game. No, it was one of the two, whatever. It's just because it was like the only game on at the time, so you're just kind of watching it. Plus, it's the Chargers, so I'm like kind of wanting them to lose anyways. Because any powerhouse team, like whether it's the Chiefs or whatever, I want them to lose just for the potential for the Bengals to actually get the #1 seed, potentially. But nonetheless, like I just remember watching, and I was like, something just feels off about this, and I'm like, I don't know, like, because even then, people are like, I was reading the comments, they're like, oh, she's a plant. Like, people right away were like, nah, this ain't real. Like, she's a plant.
Yeah. For real.
And then I was like, I don't know. But then the following day, like after she was on the Pat McAfee show and she said certain things and didn't actually correlate to what the pictures were showing. Because at first the picture was like a close up, and she's got this Vikings jersey on. It's a Thielen jersey, and then she's got skull written on her forehead. And like she was trying to play it off.
Maybe she quit the Vikings because they got rid of Thielen.
No, she says she's technically fans of both still, but she just became a really big Chargers fan whenever she moved to LA. And I was like, I wonder why she became a Chargers fan, because her husband probably works for the NFL.
And front runners pick good teams though, so that's weird, you know.
Well, that's the thing. The conspiracy behind it is that they know the Chargers don't really have that big of a fan base, and it was just more or less they wanted someone to go viral, just to get more awareness. And actually, I kind of believe into that, because the whole thing that they're like when they're catering to Taylor Swift, like that whole thing. Because like whenever you watch a Chiefs game now, it's like
that's the thing that wrecks everything, is when they're like, you know what, people that actually care, we know you're gonna watch. We can do whatever we want.
Right.
What we need to get the people who don't like football to start watching football. And then we'll make real money. And it's just like,
well,
no,
I mean,
what's going to happen is
I get it from
wreck the whole thing.
Well, from a business standpoint, I get why they're doing it, because they're trying to get the cherry on top, because they're getting the money that they're already getting, right? How do you get that extra 10 or 15%? Is that you got to get a completely different fan base that doesn't watch football.
No, you don't. You just do what you're doing better. Just do what you're doing better. Stick to that's how you wreck a brand. That's not how you make it better.
The whole thing with Taylor Swift, again, I couldn't care less if she dates whoever she dates, or whether it's Trevor. It's the fact that they keep showing her. It's like, who fucking cares? But obviously, it's working to a certain extent, because they keep doing it.
fake.
Right.
Yeah, no. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean it works, right? We've learned a lot this year. We've learned a lot
Because
this
you're
year
right.
about marketing.
Because
That
you're
like
right.
people
The
do
fans that are
really
diehard football
incredibly
fans are going to watch
stupid
regardless.
things. Yeah, but the people that do marketing are not necessarily football fans.
Because
They
I
do not
guarantee
necessarily
you,
understand football fans.
the demographic for Taylor Swift is completely different for football fans.
Yeah. But
And
what I'm saying is sometimes marketing people do stupid stuff. Just ask Bud Light, right? And it's just like sometimes.
but I think this is working because if you can get Travis Kelce to get 800,000 more jersey sales, like that's pretty significant. Maybe it wasn't that he got. I know he got into the top 10 jersey sales. Maybe the 800 I'm thinking is maybe his Instagram followers, but still, it's like it's working to a certain extent.
That the Taylor Swift thing
Because
isn't good to
you
goose
know Taylor
a
Swift
little
fans
bit of
have
the
money
numbers.
because you know how much it costs to get into her concert.
Yeah.
Like
But
a
what I'm
$100
saying
jersey
is,
is nothing to them.
what I'm saying is the mindset is going to wreck the NFL, right?
I agree if they
Instead of
continue with it because
it's sort of going down this path is a path to destruction. You're going to wreck your brand, right?
if they keep doing it, you're right. Because every time, like now when they're doing it, every time they because like even on Instagram they'll show like Taylor Swift reactions to just whatever. If you look at the majority of the comments, everyone's like, "Who cares? F this."
Yeah,
Why
I mean,
stop showing it to us?
like, if they are legitimately dating, and fine, do whatever you want for your personal life. But to me, it's like it's not a personal life thing; it's a marketing thing.
Right.
So, but what the NFL should be focusing on is fixing their rule book. What they should be focusing on is fixing their refs. There's
Right.
plenty of money to be made with what they actually do. They could improve, like if you go to a Bengals game, they could make the lines move 10% faster, and you would spend more money because you could actually buy something and get back to your seat before the damn game's over.
Well, that's
It's just
more
like
inclined to happen than them actually
that's
fixing the
kinda
refs.
that's the kind of crap that they should be focused on, is fixing what they got.
But that's
right?
obvious, Eric. But the reason that's why that's why it seems fixed is that it should have been corrected already. Like this is just obvious shit that shouldn't even have to be explained to a multi-billion-dollar entity, right? Like they know what's up.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's the problem. The mindset of, we need to control things. We need to market things. We need to make things more Madison Avenue. We need to do that. It's like, no, that's not what people like. All sports are regional, right? And the thing that has made the NFL successful is that every single part of the country believes that their team, you get a couple of the right draft picks, you get lucky, and you go from basically you get what happened to the Bengals, right? You go from being bad to being good, and you get rewarded for your loyalty, right? But if they start controlling things and start making it like a Campbell soup commercial, and start making it like the WWE, people are just going to go away because it's too hard to watch a football game. It's just too hard to go to a stadium. You have to spend $1,000. You have to spend your entire day. And if you go there and you don't believe that what you're seeing is real, you're just not going to spend that money. And the people are buying a Travis Kelce jersey because they saw him with Taylor Swift aren't going to buy season tickets to the Chiefs. And once you lose the live audience, the brand fails, because watching it on TV is not going to be exciting, because it's going to be like watching a Wednesday night Conference USA game where there's 10 people in the stands and you can hear like the echo of like the coach, talking into his microphone, right? Instead of like hearing a crowd roaring and like getting that excitement.
The funny part about this is kind of tying back to like the Chiefs, because like it seems like they get a lot of favorable calls, especially late into games where it matters the most, is that their fans are convinced that they're not being favored because they have a lot of penalty yards, which is true because they typically have a lot of fouls that they don't call. But they end up calling early fouls just to get them on like saying, "Oh no, we're penalizing them." But when it matters the most,
I watched a basketball game get fixed like that. What they do is they call a bunch of cheap fouls on the worst players on So I watched Ohio State play Cincinnati in Cincinnati, right? In basketball. They called like 5 quick fouls on the 3 worst players on Ohio State's team immediately, right? And then they called 3 quick fouls on UC's best player and got him out of the game, and then it was over, right? Because it was, I don't even remember what conference Cincinnati was in, but AAC versus the Big Ten. They came to Cincinnati, but they brought their refs, right? Well, why would you need to bring your refs? So they could fix the game, right?
Yeah, because it matters the most when it happens, not the total. It always matters, like, because the way I look at it is like, you got to pay attention to the spread or total points, and it's like they always seem to call penalties to keep it close, right?
Yeah, that's all sports.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you look at football, it's like,
but that's how they do the NCAA basketball tournament. They call fouls and they get the games close because they want TV viewers. So if a team starts blowing out another team, what you always see is that the refs start calling fouls to get the game to kind of condense and get closer. So it's not that they necessarily want either team to win. They want the game to be close because they want the game to end as close as possible to get people to flip it on.
Because that's what I don't get about like the Bengals either, is because like I see all these other quarterbacks to get like roughing the passer type calls, to where it's like Burrow hardly ever gets that. Like I feel like he's been crushed or hit in the face many times, or like, to me it's kind of a cheap foul where if the defender like tackles him and puts all of his body weight on him while they're getting tackled, seems like a weird rule because it's like kind of hard to control at times. But the point is, like, they need to be consistent about it, right? And it's like there's several times where I feel like he got hit like that, or hit in the face, or whatever, or hit kind of late. Like I rewatched that one, like where you didn't think it was a foul because it was like out of the tackle box, which I still think he was. But he was already getting pulled down. He was clearly going down, and as he was basically on the ground, he got hit in the back, close to his head, and he even kind of got up and looked at the ref like, "You gonna do anything?" And of course, the ref didn't do anything. I'm just thinking, like, how's that not a foul? But me personally, I think there's just some type of animosity of them because, like, the Bengals made a whole stink about the refund stuff, and it's like the NFL's trying to make a point, like, hey, you want to come at us? Okay, well, we're gonna let your guy get roughed up a little bit.
Yeah, because
like some of the fouls that they call for other quarterbacks, where it's just like, who was it? It was either, I think it was Herbert, where he got pushed on the ground, and they called a foul on that. I'm like, really? You're gonna give him a roughing and passer for someone like 2-hand taking him on the ground? Like, what? No. Just doesn't seem consistent, which ultimately makes it not fair. Like, if certain teams get those calls and certain teams don't, it's just like, come on, just make it consistent. That's the least you could do. But I do think if they continue what they're doing, and because like in the off season, or sometime during the offseason, Roger Goodell, he doubled down. He said, no, I think the referee's doing good, actually. It's like, what? Like, how could you even say that?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, it's just, it all just it just makes me feel like he's part of, like, the ring of fixing things, because, like, it would make sense to have someone in that position to be kind of part of it. Like, saying maybe the other people aren't corrupt and he's maybe just one of the small pieces that is. Because the way he was hugging Chris Jones after they won a Super Bowl was just so, like, off-putting to me. I'm like, come on, dude. And then, like, he got caught.
Hey, man, Ginger Hammer likes to hug. You can't get down on that.
No, he got caught on a hot mic saying, like, I wouldn't call that a foul or whatever, apparently because Chris Jones got a foul or whatever for roughing the passer. And it's just like the optics on it just look so bad. Him like celebrating with Chris Jones right after they won the Super Bowl. I'm like, come on, dude. The commissioner of the NFL should be impartial. Like, why are you so happy that dude won something? But it's just like
State Farm keeps writing those checks. That's why they're happy.
Right. I'm sure that I agree with it because, like you said, you got to follow the money. The money trail will show you everything, really. But that's the thing. To me, it doesn't really take that many people to have to be involved to fix a certain amount of games. Because the amount of money that's being bet on these games is just outstanding.
Yeah.
Right. So you only need a handful of games to be fixed.
We make picks on this, but it's just like I unless you have insight onto how things are going to get manipulated, I can't believe that anybody would bet real money on these games.
Yeah, because it's really a crapshoot. But there's got to be a pattern. I'm sure there's got to be like some type of.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a pattern, right? You got to know.
Well, you got to know the officiating crew would be important.
Yeah. Like I feel like they're like in baseball, there was like all the balks this season were called by like one officiating crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy anomaly, right? Because like you would think there would be a few crews, not just one specific one, you know?
Yeah, just one crew called like there weren't that many balks either all season. It was like one crew constantly calling them, right? And it's like there's got to be like this crew, you know, they call a lot of pass interference. This crew calls a lot of offensive pass interference. This crew calls a lot of roughing the passer. You know what I mean? And you kind of like, depending on the matchup, you send the crew you want to do the game you want. You know.
You want to hear something crazy? This is like kind of separate from everything that we're talking about. I don't know why I just randomly thought about it, but the fantasy football league I'm in, there's this person that works close to where the Cowboys practice. And like, get how stupid this is, or how weird Jerry Jones is. So like, I mean, he's smart because where the practice field is, there's a whole bunch of office buildings. And like in my head, I thought, well, it's all Cowboys because like they have a big organization, they're international, whatever. But no, there's actually separate companies that have offices in those buildings, and they can watch them practice. They can literally watch them practice. And this person took you're not supposed to do this, but she took a picture of like them practicing, and it's like in her picture you can see where it says do not photograph of, like, you can't basically have photography when the players are on the field, but she did it anyways. I'm just like, dude, you're Jerry Jones, dude. Like, what? Like, you can't. That's not smart. But to me, it's just a business for him. Like, I mean, I'm sure like championships matter, but well, I mean, money's number one.
Like I think most owners view it as a business, not as like fan. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, because you know how easy it would be for like someone to like spy on them, because like they would just have to know like what companies are there and to get a hold. Like if they really wanted to get that information, they could easily have someone do that. Like, I was like, damn. Because I was like, you shouldn't. Well, not that you should, but it's like, because like anyone in their conference or specifically their division.
And the Bengals practice field is just out by the highway.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
You don't even have to have an office building. You just walk down the street.
One of the people I watch, he films from the highway. Like, yeah, he's like constantly filming.
You just go stand outside and record. I mean,
yeah, I guess maybe it's not that big of a deal, but I just kept thinking.
I mean, like the Bengals players literally have to like go through a crosswalk to get from like the stadium to the practice field.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I mean, it's like you can watch the whole team.
But if you're on the ground level, right, you can't really see anything because they have trees and like it's elevated.
Yeah, but
so like
you can get all kinds of who's practicing, who's not practicing.
That's true. I mean, you're right about the highway, because I've seen that guy like film. I was like, damn, anyone can get on the highway and just do that. I mean,
it's like the least sophisticated operation ever to like spy on.
Well, they do have the practice bubble now, so that probably helps. But they only go. Yeah. I'm sure it's getting to the point where they'll probably start practicing in there more. But I don't know. I thought that was funny. I was like, damn, like.
Yeah, which is wild to me. Like, why do you need a practice bubble?
Because it gets cold.
No, let me rephrase that. Why do you need a field to practice on? You got a field.
Oh, like the stadium?
Yeah, like why not just practice in the field?
Because when you break out to different groups, like you don't have enough field to be able to do that. Because like the special teams kind of need their own field alone, right? If you're punting or kicking field goals. Outside. Yeah, I guess that's true. You could always do that, but
it's just like don't you think there's something to like you know, like how like
but if I remember correctly, like as it gets closer to the game, then yeah, they do actually play it because they try to simulate the game as much as possible. So like the real practice before the game, they'll actually practice on the field, like the real field.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that's what they do because that's what we did in college and in high school. It was weird how it was all the same, but that's how it's always been because like the NFL will start doing things and then they'll start teaching college and high school coaches what they're doing to kind of get it like, I guess for them to be more mentally prepared what's going to happen in the NFL. But I don't know, like even from when I played or probably from when you played too, like the way they practice is a lot different. Like they don't, like when I played, like every practice we had like full, well, I take that back. The practice before the game, it would always, we'd be in like shoulder pads and helmets, and it was always like, oh, that's fun. Now I hear like they pretty much do that the majority of the week. Like they don't even have full contact throughout the week as much as they used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. I don't think, you know. To me it's like, well, it seems consistent with how pitchers work out. So it makes sense. Right?
Yeah, because I mean if you're going full go throughout the week, you're not gonna have much left.
Yeah, you can't go full go every single day. You have to do it periodically, right? So you need recovery after a game, you need to recover, but you also need to work on stuff. So you kind of do lighter stuff, and then you can't hit every day because you would just grind your team down to the point where nobody would be left to play, except for the tough guys, the tough slow guys.
All right. Well, you know what? I think that was a pretty good episode. Is there anything you want to add before we close it out?
No, I guess, subscribe.
There you go. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Help us.
Yeah, or else we're going to cut the head off that chicken.
Yep, exactly. Not that chicken, though. I need that.
What? Oh, okay, not that one. Not a real chicken. We'll find something else.
Why? We can eat it afterwards. What are you talking about?
No. You ever see Major League?
The
baseball movie.
Was there only one movie? I feel like there was two.
There was like at least three.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of remember the first one with Wild Thing, right?
Yeah, with Wild Thing and how Serrano needed to sacrifice a chicken before the game, and the catcher went out and bought a bucket of KFC, and so this is the best I can get.
I miss that type of humor in movies.
We will wreck a bucket of KFC chicken if we don't get to 1,000.
There you go. I like it. All right.
In peace.
All right.
Peace.